Atlantis is a fantastic tool, but it cannot work alone. It needs the help of and the support of other tools to be able to reach its full potential. Atlantis is like Don Quixote. It's not able to defeat the windmills without the help of Sancho. Atlantis, to reach its full potential, it will need the help of another tools. And that is the talk that I will present to you. I hope at the end of this presentation you will be able at least to have a general view of the type of tool that we have, where we're being, and where are we going. This presentation is just about the tools and the support that we have for Atlantis. Yes, it can be used just to build Atlantis, to calibrate Atlantis, to processing Atlantis, or even some tools that can help debugging Atlantis. So this is the short overview of the tools that we use and that we have and that you can use, and it can help, like Sancho helps Don Quixote. This tool will help you to fight those windmills. So it's a very short presentation. I will not go in deep in each of those tools. We will see few of them during the course next week, but for now, it's just a short overview of what we have and what you can use. So why we need those tools? Many of you are working with Atlantis for many years, and you know that Atlantis has huge amount of data. There is different type of data that you can have in terms of format. You have netcdf or plain text, but you also have files that they are coming from the configuration, files that they're being used for the forcings, and files that they are coming out from Atlantis as output. Yeah. Work with those data is time consuming. Yeah. Time consuming in terms of building your own code to deal with them, to read them, but also one of the issues that we have with those big data is very easy to make mistakes, not only for reading them, but also to build new information in case of the configuration files. So that's why we need the right tools for the job. And we have different tools that some of them can play a different role in different aspects of Atlantis. And when I'm talking about aspect, I'm talking about different areas or stages of the modeling. So some tools can help for calibration and configuration, and other tools can help just for configuration, other one for analysis. So the idea of those tools at the beginning, they were built with a specific objective, but then also can be used for another topic when we are building or calibrating or working with Atlantis. How many tools do we have? I will say we have two big categories, the historical one and the new ones. The historical one are those tools that were built time ago, and usually it's nobody maintaining them. And usually the functionality of those tools is super good, but nobody maintains them. So the idea in some cases will be to bring those tools, and I know some people is doing that, bringing those tools, giving them a new life, yeah, using new languages. Also, we have third-party tools that they are built for something more generic, like for example GIS type of analysis, or a specific tool that's being built to work with netcdf files, for example. And the type of languages that we are using, or usually we use, is R. That will be the main one. Then we have Python, MATLAB, Java, C, and C++. But the majority of the tools that we have are in R, and some of them in Excel as well. So I will start talking with the first section, that is model construction. And the first topic that we will see when we are building an Atlantis model is working with the geometry. So the geometry is to build our ecosystem, to divide it in polygons, and those were the polygons that Atlantis will use. Usually that information is contained in a format that we call the BGM file. Yeah. What tools do we have to work with the BGM? Usually to construct a BGM file, first we construct something that we call a shape file. And the tools that we use for that is very, I would say, the typical type of tool that we will use with GIS. So we have QGIS, that is an open source one, and then we have ArcGIS, that is part of Esri, that is a proprietary type of software. Then we have the BGMerizer, that what it's doing is taking those shape files and building the BGM file. Then we have another tool that's called BGM to shapefile, and that one is doing the opposite. So it's taking the BGM file and building a shapefile. And then we have the RBGM, that is a new tool that was built at the Atlantic Division. And what this tool is doing is working with the shapefile and building the BGM file, and also is doing the opposite. But at the same time, you can work with polygons and doing analysis of that. Now, the other topic that we are usually facing when we are working with Atlantis is trying to build the oceanographic model, or technically translate from oceanographic models, output from oceanographic model into Atlantis. Usually salinity, temperature, and fluxes, but also we can have those different type of tracers. How we do that? Usually we have a MATLAB code. There is some R code as well that is being used for that, some Python code. But the main issue that we have with the oceanographic data is the amount of different type of model that we have. I think that was, or as being one of the main issues or the main problems that people is facing when they're trying to translate those oceanographic data, or trying to build a tool that is dealing with that. In our community, usually I will say the model that is being most used is the NEMO one, and I will say the first place of the one that is being used the most is the RONS model. But even though inside the RONS model you have different grids, and that's make difficult also to do the transformation. But I know that there is people, and hopefully they will present during this week, there is people working in a way how to deal with that, and I think they are doing great progress on that area. How to work with the biology, how to create, specifically creating the PRM files for the species. We have usually a spreadsheet, and also we have some tools that's being created with another objective, that they are fish based, and that is working with a fish base, of course, and also with life base. So you can pull out parameters that are coming from those online databases. Yeah, if you don't have it. But technically, we don't have that much to work with the biology himself. I know there is people that have a very useful spreadsheet that will be great to transform those one in a packaging R that can use fish base, and also the information contained in the spreadsheet to build the parameter files. Now, in terms of ecology, we have some old tools like the donut model that can help you to create the interaction matrix between a species. That's the p-prime type of matrix that we have. Also the availability that can calculate relatively the same, and also can work with the donut model. And then you have the shiny R Atlantis. That was a tool that was built here at CSIRO, and the idea was first is to look at the model, at all the biology and the ecology, and it can help you not only to visualize the input data, but at the same time it can give you an idea of the values of growth rate or clearance rate. Yeah. And also they have another tools that they are contained in a spreadsheet that's been developed years ago. Now, in terms of fisheries, there is not many tools that they are working specifically with fisheries in terms of construction. In the Chinese R Atlantis, right now I'm building, I built already, but now I am adding this new module to the Chinese R Atlantis that it can create, automatically can create the PRM file for the fisheries. But also we have some spreadsheet that can help to build the PRM file for the fisheries. Now, in terms of the initial condition is the netcdf file that you will use when you start running Atlantis. We have the shiny Atlantis that has function inside that it can build the initial condition files using few CSV files. Then we have the Atlantis NCGen that technically is a wrapper around NCO. So you have a tool that is using a plain data type of type of file and building from that one building a netcdf file. And then you have the CDF distyler that what it's doing is using a model, a previous run, a previous output, is cutting that output and creating a new initial condition based on that. That is very useful when you have model that the initial condition or the burning period is very long and you don't want to run that part of the model every time that you are running Atlantis. So what you can do is run the model, reach equilibrium, and then cut the model there and create from that new equilibrium, create the new netcdf file. Now, in terms of the calibration, when we are doing calibration, we have few goals. First one is reading the output, finding the apps, so where we have the mistake or what is the stuff that they are going wrong in the model. Then we want to learn from that, and then we want to, if it's possible, to write new inputs that we can use during the calibration. Yeah. Now, in terms of the calibration, we do have the Reactive Atlantis. That is a shiny app that is reading very specific output from Atlantis and input at the same time, and is exploring the output and comparing them with data as well. Yeah, is this tool that is part of a suite of different tools will be updated very soon. We also have Atlantis tools that is going more in deep in terms of reading the output, and is also creating some PDF based on the output from Atlantis, and is exploring, I will say, is in more detail the output from Atlantis. Yeah. Then you have the different R function that people is being creating. And also we have a spreadsheet, and in terms of exploring the spatial data, we have Olive. Yeah. Now, in terms of the processing, we have tools that can help with simulation, especially in terms of using those tools for the MSC approach, or to run different simulations of the same model, changing some parameters. You have output analysis, and also tools that can help you with the skill assessment of the model. Yeah. For that, what this type of task, we have the Atlantis Summit. I'm not really sure if during this week we will see some presentations. We will see some presentations about this type of tools. Then we have the Reactive Atlantis that I talked about this tool before, and then we have R functions that they are being created mainly for a specific purpose. Yeah. That it will be nice to bring those one inside those main packages. In terms of debugging, I will say that the best tool for debugging Atlantis is Atlantis himself. Atlantis you have a lot of options that can print some a specific part of the running for you in the log file. So those are the ones that are available when you are using the run.prm file. But also, because there is constantly the people is having issue in very specific part of the code, there is code inside that is being commented, but you can uncomment and use those printing. Yeah. If that is not enough, you can create your own, and believe me, it's it's very easy to create printings, even if it looks difficult. It's something that is very easy to do. So I will encourage people to do their own printing if they have issues in Atlantis. And then if there is people that is want to see a little bit more in depth what Atlantis is doing, you can use Valgrind. That tool technically what it's doing is checking if if you have problem with arrays or out of the array some loops. And then you have GDB that I'm not really sure that you can use that one with a Windows machine, and I think that you have some issues when you're working with Mac. But for people that is using a Linux based type of operating system, GDB is a great tool. Where you can find all those tools, you have different places. The Confluence, the Atlantis Confluence page, you can find there all of these tools, and at least you can have the address that can point you to those one. And then you have a specific GitHubs. We have a GitHub at CSIRO, and now part of the community is also joining us. We have the Atlantis tools, the reactive Atlantis, the Shiny R Atlantis are in that GitHub. We have R for Atlantis. I think we have Atlantis Summit in that GitHub. Also, we have the Australian Antarctic Division have quite a few tools that can help to build Atlantis, and then the GitHub for Mareframe. And there is quite a few personal or project-based tools that they are being stored in GitHub. This is not a very detailed list of all the packages that we can have in Atlantis, but at least I will say there's quite a few that can be really, really helpful for people that is being running Atlantis or people that start running Atlantis. And the idea of those one is like we can easily cooperate and work together in trying to build those tools. Now I will give you a task for the week. It's a very simple one, and it's just to think about what you need or what do you think we need for Atlantis. Atlantis is, as we know, is a huge tool, and the number of output that we have is huge. But it's also great that we have the option to work with all those outputs and inputs and create analysis that data and create new way of visualizing or working with that. So if you think that is something that we are missing and it will be nice to have in Atlantis, or in the tools that we are working with Atlantis, at the end of the week we will ask you if you can tell us what do you think we will need, or where should we put our effort in developing something for Atlantis. So that will be my presentation. Was a very short one. It's very focused on the tools, and any question we're happy to answer. So just let me know if there is something that you think more clarification, or you would like to work, or if you want to be part of any of those projects. We are happy to have more people on board. So cheers, and see you during the week.